Okay, so in this video, these are for if you've missed some of my instructions on how to so you've made your pinch pot. Let me show you what I have here. You've made your pinch pot and now you're at the point, sorry for all the noise, where you want to start attaching things to your pinch pot. I put some newspaper in here in the bottom of it because that helps keep the structure stable, and you can actually set it directly on your desk like that and it won't collapse when you're trying to put things on it. It's very important though, while you're not using this, that you keep it covered up with your bag because you don't want it to dry out. Now when you're attaching things, obviously you have to uncover it, but until you get it ready to attach to everything, I would keep it covered up. So I'm going to put it over here out of view. I'll put my cover on it, and so the first thing I'm going to show you is how to roll out a piece of clay. Some pieces, when you make them, they're way too thin, and they'll be too thin to attach onto here, so we need them to all be the thickness of this yardstick. So what I do is we don't have a slab roller machine because those are very expensive. So what I do is I put a piece of clay in between two yardsticks. There's a piece of canvas underneath. If you're in the classroom, in the middle table, that is the light box, there are two stations set up there, and I'm probably going to set up another one. But there's another piece of clay that you can put on top. So I lay that on top. I get my dough roller here. Sorry for the camera shaking, and then I just kind of press down and I start rolling. This clay is really hard, so it's not wanting to even roll for me here, but you're going to use those yardsticks as a guide. Like I said, this clay is very hard and doesn't want to roll, so that's why it's taking me it's a little tricky. Again, sorry for the camera shaking. But these yardsticks that are on either side, that keeps it from making it too thin. So I'm going to take that off, and it's still a little bit thick in the middle. Let me see if I can roll it, press it down. Sometimes it sticks to the roller. So okay. Now, as you might not have been able to see, but let me see if I can show you. We got a few little air pockets there we need to get out. I'm going to get my little poker. I'm just going to poke them because remember, air pockets are bad news. Let me see if I can show you on the screen. You can kind of see there is the texture from the canvas, and you don't want that texture on your object. So let me move these out of the way. And when you're making those different objects that you want to attach, you can use this rib, this wooden one. This is the one I like. Actually, my most favorite one is a plastic one, but I don't have any of those. We also have these stainless steel ones. They're a little bit sharper to me, and they're not my favorite, so I don't usually use those. But these you can rub across it, and it smooths out any of that texture on there. If there's any clay on your rib, it may make an indentation in there, so I would wipe that off at the beginning of class. I try to tell everybody at the end of class. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. This one is very dirty. But you just want it really smooth, both sides. Obviously, one side is going to be attached to the object and one side is not. So the side that is not, that's the side that you want to be really smooth. Okay, so there is my object, or my slab that I'm going to cut from. And you can either use this tool here to cut out. You can use this tool here to cut out. This one has a hook on the end, so I'm probably not going to use it. But this one on the end, it's straight, so I could use it to cut whatever shape I needed. If you have two things, such as like ears or eyes, obviously there's two of those. So what I typically do is I just kind of lightly, let's say I'm going to draw some eyes here. I just kind of lightly draw it into the clay, and then I go in, make sure it's the size that I want, the shape that I want, and then I go in and cut. Okay, so I'm going to lift that clay up, and then I'm just gonna poke that through. Now this now has some really rough edges. I'm gonna smooth those out. And you can use your finger, you can use some of those little tools. This is just such a small piece, I'm just gonna do it with my hands. Okay, so then, because this is gonna be an eye, I am going to need 2 of them. So I'm gonna lay this next to the clay. I'm gonna be smart about it this time and put it close to the edge so it's not as hard to get out. And then I'm just going to cut my second eyeball out. And then I gotta trim this little piece off here. Okay. All right, so now I've got to do the same thing that I just did on that one. I have to make it smooth. So I'm just gonna rub around the edges. And then I'm going to attach it. Okay, so I've got my eyes. They're ready to go. They're ready to be attached. So I'm going to move this to the side, because I don't need that right now. But what I'm going to need is I'm going to need my clay pot back, and I'm going to need slip, which is in this little feta cheese container. It's on your desk. So this slip is glue that we use to connect 2 pieces together with clay. So it's the same thing as this, it's just more water than clay. So I'm going to attach, fixing that cut back there on the back of that, but I'm going to attach these eyes back here. So what I have to do, you can either use this tool to score, you can use this tool, this is actually what it was meant for, to score, or you can use this tool. This one I find doesn't dig deep enough. It does work, but it doesn't dig deep enough, so I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to just make some little line marks, and I know you've already gone through the hassle of smoothing all this out, but this is just where my eye is going to go. Then I'm going to go back to the back part of my eye, or what will be the back part of my eye. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go one direction, and then I'm going to go the opposite direction. So it looks like that. So you have 2 pieces that look like this, and then I'm going to dip my finger in here into the slip. I'm going to put some on that, and I'm going to put some on this object, on this side. Oops. And then I'm going to push it down, and I'm going to kind of wiggle it back and forth, and you'll feel it grip because it'll kind of stop wiggling. It is okay that that slip come out around the edges. I'm going to show you what you need to do to fix that. And then my eye is attached, and then to do this, I'll do the same thing to the other eye. So I'm going to do that here, mar it up one direction, mar it up the other direction, make sure it's good and okay, picking the side that is less smooth because it's going to be the back, because I'm about to cut it up. Same thing, mar it up one direction, another direction, get some more slip, get some more slip. If your table does not have any slip, just come up to the front, and I've got some already put in these little containers that you can just grab. All right, so once it's gripped, it's on there. But now we have to get all of that slip off because it's stuck now. So I'm going to scrape that off, and we'll put it back in the slip container. Scrape all that off. Sometimes I end up using different tools for this. It's just whatever gets it off a little bit better. Because remember, we want this to be smooth, and sometimes it might be hard to get your fingers in there because it's just tight spaces. You again may have to use this tool to get in there to get it smooth. Oops, sorry, I might have got off screen there, sorry. I'm just trying to get it smooth in between that. I'm going to have to get in with another tool just to smooth it out. So anything that is left not smooth out becomes a sharp edge, and sharp edges can cut. you or cut me or cut whoever is touching them. So we don't want that. Okay, so there are my eyes attached. It looks like I still need to do some smoothing on them, and that's fine. I can come back and do that. But you would repeat the process for any piece that is going to be attached. I usually try to steer away from putting any like carving into the clay. There are some instances where you need to carve into the clay, but what carving into the clay does, I'm going to show you on this. If you carve into the clay, it tends to make, you can't really see it, but it tends to make, I'll bring it up closer, tends to push the clay away, so it creates this extra clay on the top, and if I was to go back and try to smooth that, a lot of times it just fills the hole back up. This time it didn't do that because it is a deeper cut, but if I was to do that for something like this and then come back and smooth it, you can see it covers the hole back up. So that's typically why I don't like to carve into clay. Now if I was like wanting to do, sorry, my lights are going off. If I was wanting to do a stamp of some kind, I would, like, let's say if I wanted to put that texture on there, I would put some baby oil on this, and then I would roll that texture on there. And I know you might not be able to see it, so I'll bring it closer. So that's the texture from that. Anything that we want to stamp on there, we just want to put baby oil on there to make different types of textures. That's one way we can do that to our clay. So that is how you roll a slab out. That is how you slip. So you score it with using maybe these tools or this tool. You use your slip. That's what this is. So that's clay glue. Then you can use your ribs to smooth things out. You can also use these to get into tight spaces. And sometimes you have to use water if you need it. I always usually have a glass of water beside me because I like to dip just my finger into it just to add what I need on there. So I'm not real sure what this creature is. He just kind of became something that I would show students how to do stuff. So who knows what he's going to end up being. But anyways, there's that, and on how to slip and score if you need to know how to do that. Okay, thanks.